Disclaimer: efforts have been made to not to infringe with any copyright. If so, it may be brought to our notice for its acknowledgement in future editions. No part of this digital content be reproduced, stored, or distributed in any or by any means either on paper or electronic media unless authorized. Digital content for candidate with disability. Sector: Agriculture and Allied. Subsector: Agriculture Allied Activity. Occupation: Beekeeping. Reference ID AGR slash Q5301. NSQF level 4. Unit 4: Bee Biology and Behavior. Unit 4.3b: Management of honeybee colonies during honey flow season. Improving ventilation in colonies. Ventilation in honeybee colonies is important to cope up with the respiration of large adult bees. Proper ventilation can be ensured by placement of thin twigs on the bottom board before placing the board chamber to improve the ventilation. Placement of thin twigs on the chamber top before placing inner cover and placing thin twigs between chamber and bottom board and between inner cover. Provision of shade. Shift colony bees to sunny area in winter season and provide cool shade in summer season. It is advisable that the beekeepers must arrange for planting quick growing shady trees such as peach, plum, etc. during the proper season, which may provide additional flora for bees. Provide winter packaging to honeybee colonies to provide desired temperature within the colonies. Packaging can be of two types: one-sided, which is given by wrapping wheat straw or paddy straw in polythene or newspaper sheet, and two-sided packaging if colonies are weak. Stimulative feeding. Sometimes, in spite of factors being favorable, bees do not go out of the foraging because of non-availability of food reserve inside the colony, and hence the brood rearing activity generally gets delayed. Under these situations, feeding of sugar syrup becomes imperative in order to stimulate the early brood rearing activity, which helps in the start of the main honey flow. For stimulative feed is relatively less concentrated sugar solution and should be given inside the hives only. Maximizing honey production. To build the maximum strength of honeybee, following points should be kept in mind. Number 1. Unite weak colonies with strong ones before the start of the honey flow. Number 2. Always keep good, young and prolific queen in the colonies. Number 3. Provide adequate space. Number 4. Extract honey more frequently. Number 5. Use queen excluder to avoid brood rearing. Preparing colonies for migration. Beekeeper needs to consider following factors while preparing the honeybee colonies for migration. Number 1. Season. During winter, move the hives at late night, evening, or early morning when all bees are inside the hive, ensuring proper ventilation. In cold and rainy weather, the hives should be covered with trampoline during transportation. During summer or monsoon season, colonies should be migrated during night when it is cooler, ensuring ventilation. Number 2. Distance of migration site. During cold, bees consume excessive food stores to produce heat, so long distance migration of honey bees at a stretch is possible. During hot, migrate the colonies along with properly fastened super chambers or divide the strong colonies to create more space for expansion of the brood nest. During very long distance migration of colonies in very hot weather, have one journey break for short temporary sing of apiary for a day or two at some suitable place having some bee flora. Number 3. Number of hives. Number of colonies making full vehicle load be migrated to make it more economical. However, in case the number of colonies is small and migration at all has to be done, make it a full truckload by joining with fellow beekeepers who also intend to take up migration to the same or nearby areas. Number 4. Preparing and packaging of colonies for migration. Extract surplus honey few days before migration. Seal all the cracks and crevices in the hive. Replace broken hive parts with the new ones. The chambers, boom boards, and inner covers should be fastened together by nailing or nylon traveling belt in such a way to avoid slipping of different hive parts. Sometimes some beekeepers moves bees at night with hives covered with nylon net, but entrances of all the hives open. In such case, the bees cluster outside the hives and make unloading at destination very difficult. If unloading is done during daytime, the bees will get confused and are lost. Make sure that the bees do not escape en route to trouble passers during a forced stoppage because of traffic jam or problem with the vehicle. Number 5. Type of vehicle loading and unloading of colonies. While migrating the colonies in vehicles such as trucks, the jerking movements will be forward and backward. Hence, the length side of the hives should be kept parallel to the body length of the vehicle. That is, length of the hive should be perpendicular to the axle of the vehicle. While loading the colonies in a tractor trailer where the jerking movements are sideways, the beehives should be loaded with their length side parallel to the breadth of the vehicle or the axle of the vehicle. Do not turn off engine immediately upon arriving at the destination. It is best to place the hives in the new location late in the evening or at night and open the entrances of the beehives. Number 6. Honey extractor. Extract ripe honey as per methodology given in chapter on production and marketing of hive products. Filter it and store in steel or food grade plastic container. Drifting of bees. Bees of a hive entering into adjacent hive due to wind or confusion caused by some other circumstances is known as drifting of bees. High winds may force the bees in wrong hives, but these are always welcomed as they are coming with nectar, pollen, or water and are not the robber bees. Greater skill in hiving the packages would prevent this drifting. Preventing drifting of bees. Maintain 6 to 8 feet of distance between placement of colonies. Placement should be like hives in one row are not exactly behind the hives in the adjacent row. Use of windbreak and painting a lighting boards with different colors will reduce the chance of drifting. Curbing drone population. As a drone consumes 5 to 6 times more than a worker bee, the colonies should therefore be managed in such a way that the drone brood rearing is curbed during this period. This is necessary during summer as stock multiplication or queen bee replacement are not undertaken during this period and hence drones are no longer required. Moreover, it would help in higher honey yield from blooming flora. The important steps required to undertake in this aspect are substitution of the old and depleted drone layer queens with freshly mated queen bees, use of raised comb with worker brood cells, then use of worker brood cells impression imprinted wax foundations, and the use of wire entrance guards and drone traps to keep away the already existing drone bees. In the next video, we will discuss about the selection of colonies and mass queen bee rearing.